afternoon, Skylab. We have a special science conference scheduled today, as you know, to celebrate the perihelion passage of Kohoutek. And we have here in the MOCR to carry on the usual Kohoutek science conference with you today. Standing in for the other Kohoutek PIs, we have Dr. Bobish Kohoutek, the discoverer of the comet, and he'd like to ask you a few questions when you're ready. Over.
Roger, Houston, we're ready to go. Good afternoon, Dr. Kohoutek.
Good afternoon. I am very glad to have an opportunity to following the comet 1973F during its most critical day, during its perihelion passage, and from the place where most research of that comet is concentrated. Especially it is a great pleasure for me to greet you, Mr. Gibson, Mr. Kerr, and Mr. Pork, as the first human beings studying a comet from outer space. Your mission is indeed very important for astronomy. I have the following questions. You observed the comet visually last Sunday and Monday. You compared it with, in brightness with Mercury and suggested that there were color features in the coma. Do you have anything more to say on those observations?
Not too much to add to that, sir, because we have not seen much of the comet visually since those last observations. The one time in which I was the one who observed the color, I have not seen the comet since. The next time I saw the comet was on the SO52 white light coronagraph.
Oh yes. And how about the tail, for example?
The tail we have found, as it becomes more foreshortened to us, became much wider. And let me give you figures that are relative to the display we have on the ATM. I would say that the coma, the bright coma, was approximately 3/16, 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch in diameter. And I would say that the tail that we could see, however foreshortened, extended only about 1/4 inch away from the coma and spread like a fan to approximately 3/8 of an inch at its outermost end.
Have you glimpsed the comet since Monday? I mean visually.
No, sir, we have not.
I saw a transmitted picture of the comet you got with the coronagraph yesterday. There is a certain indication of the tail on the copies available down here. I wonder how much of the tail were you able to see up there?
Dr. Gibson made that observation and took a Polaroid picture that we have up here with us, and I'll let him speak to that. Dr. Kohoutek, it looked to us that the tail fanned out, as Jerry said, and it was about 20 degrees as far as the fan from the axis. And we were able to see it back to a distance of around 3 times the size of the coma. After that, it was lost in the noise of the white light display.
How is the brightness changing from day to day? You are the only people you see this comet at present, and therefore your information is very valuable.
Well, unfortunately, we are not able to see it by eye. We can only tell by what we see on the white light coronagraph display. That display has indicated that the brightness certainly is increasing. The display itself has a filtering function, which allows you to see the corona much better, so that it's a factor of 100 from the edge of the occulting disk all the way out to the edge of the display. So we were only able to see it at the very beginning, very close to the edge of the display. Now we can see it pretty much right up next to the, fairly close to the occulting disk, so I'm sure we're at least up a factor of 10 from that when we first saw it, and perhaps greater than that.
Yes, calculations suggest that the comet may have a sort of sunward spike around a New Year day. Could you watch for this phenomenon?
We certainly will. We'll be watching for the sunward spike and also for two tails and perhaps for a breakup, which, if that happened, would certainly be dynamic, and we'll be looking for it. Why don't I hand it over to Bill Pogue and let him discuss the brightness also. We first started making visual observations of the comet, I suppose about the middle of the first week in December. It was not visible up until that time. We were able to find it visually by using first binoculars in order to get the location proper, because the observation visually by eyeball is somewhat awkward because of the windows we have to use and the angles at which we have to look. We also, not only do we have some awkward angles inside the spacecraft looking out, but we also have intervening structures, the large solar panels. And although it may sound like we're hedging somewhat on your questions, we're giving you honest answers because sometimes it's just hard to see it. And we do have a problem with this intervening structure. And this is going to also compromise our ability to see some of the more potentially dramatic events that are going to occur in the next few days because it's still behind some of this intervening structure. About the first week in December, we picked it up visually, and it became brighter and brighter. I was able to see this visually and then point it out to the other crewmen. And we started monitoring it subjectively from day to day. And then it didn't seem to change for about 10 days. And then there was a very dramatic increase in the brightening, the decrease in magnitude or increase in brightening. And it was appearing to grow quite dramatically the last few days that we were watching it. I estimated the length of the tail one day 2 degrees, and about a day and a half later, Dr. Gibson estimated about 4 degrees, so it was growing very rapidly, and then of course we lost it behind the structure, but we will be making every effort to reacquire it visually, and of course, as soon as we are able to see that, we will resume photographic data taking. Dr. Kohotek, we have a question we'd like to ask you. Well, first, let us say that we're very appreciative of you coming down and talking with us. And I think everybody interested in comets is very appreciative of your early discovery of the comet so that we could marshal all the forces, which we are putting to bear on the problem, and get very organized and go about it in a very systematic way. I think we'll learn an awful lot because you were able to pick it up so early. I have a couple questions, and that is, what have you seen in it so far in terms of the chemical composition, and what would that indicate to you as far as its origin, and also what is its eccentricity, and how does that reflect on its origin?
Ian's will be coming right up to you.
We thought we got LOS, Story.
Yes. It is very probably the new comet, and the determination of the orbit, the accurate determination of the orbit is very important because if it is a new comet, it could leave some information about not only about comets, but about the origin of the solar system, and it's very important. Oh yes, back to the question about the composition. Of course, all observations about composition are very valuable, but especially observations made during the perihelion passage are very important because, as I said already, you are the only people you can see the comet now.
when you were able to see it and you were looking at some of the visible emissions, were you able to detect any molecules?
One question, ground-based observation of the H-alpha emission was reported some time ago. Have you ever detected the comet's H-alpha emission?
No, we've not. We have certainly tried to see it. We've looked for it on both the H-alpha display, which of course is geared for a much higher emission, the solar emission. And we've also looked for it on our extreme ultraviolet monitor, and we have not been able to detect it so far. We hope that at its brightest point, that is what we're working on this afternoon,